Vienna Calling, der Videopodcast von und mit Petra Bayer. Aktuelle Fragen der Zeit kurz und prägnant beantwortet.
At this episode of Vienna Calling, I'm very happy to welcome Nargis Mohammad Hassanzai. She is a former professor of the Kabul Education University, is the Sweden World Peace Award winner from last year, 2023. Also received the award, the Best Author Award in 2019. Nargis is an active member of Women's Advocacy Network and member of Peace Reconstruction of Afghanistan and Culture Committee in Germany. That is where she lives at the moment, close to Düsseldorf. And Nargis is the founder of the foundation called Fakunda. So, Nargis, we all know that since the Taliban took power in Afghanistan, the life of women and girls changed dramatically. Could you tell us in a nutshell what's the daily life of women there now?
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me, and thank you for this interview. Yeah, so first of all, I would like to say that the life for women in Afghanistan is just like you are in a prison, and like you could breathe, you could eat, but you are just like a prisoner. So just think when you're living in a country, but you don't have any kind of rights. You don't have any kind of being a human being. You don't have any kind of rights to be a human being. You don't have any kind of right for education. You don't have any kind of right for your employment, for public life, for politics, for anything. So I just think like overall, I would just say that now life in Afghanistan, like it is exactly like in 1919 years, where it was the first territory for Taliban. So as you know that now women are completely banned from education. They could not go to school. They could not go to university. They could not go to any kind of education institute. Second is they completely lose their employment. Like women who were previously working in government are women who had job. Now they don't have any kind of job. Exceptional cases are sometimes in educational cases and sometimes in medical, but it's also exceptional. Like we don't have that much in schools or university. Of course, as you know that now university are completely closed for the women. So the third thing is like they are banned from their public life. Like if any woman want to go to public or if they want to go to outside of their house, so they must have a man guardian, a guardian. Like he have to have like a bodyguard. He have to hide his face completely by a veil. So the other point is they are completely banned for politics. They could not have any kind of rule in politics. And the other point is that so now there are too much violence against women. So like the violence against women, any kind of job opportunity, any kind of education opportunity, any kind of public life. So these are all the things that now women are experiencing it all. So just think that when you don't have any point of this, when you don't have any kind of this, so how will be the life for you now in Afghanistan? So this is exactly that how are the women now facing in Afghanistan and how life are they experiencing now in Afghanistan.
Is there any
hope? Exactly like a prisoner.
Yeah. Is there any hope left?
For me, like if I think so I would say that if Taliban are there and if there are Taliban still, so I don't think so that we would have any kind of hope. Like it is not only for me, there are a million and million girls in Afghanistan, women in Afghanistan that now in this territory of Taliban, they don't have any kind of hope. They don't think so that they will change because they are the Taliban that we experienced them years before. We experienced them in 20 years before. We experienced them in 1990. So and like we don't think so that there will be any kind of hope for changing the Taliban. But yeah, if there are not Taliban, if there are like if you don't have Taliban, so of course then we will say that there will have any kind of change or we will have any hope for that. But being in Taliban now in Afghanistan, we don't have any kind of hope.
But even in case there would be free and democratic elections in Afghanistan and the Taliban would be allowed to run as one of several parties, is that a vision that is a realistic one? Or do you think that the Taliban will keep power for centuries now?
Yeah, hopefully we could have any kind of election in Afghanistan. But the problem is that if Taliban are there, we will not have any kind of election. As you know, the Taliban don't let any kind of election because they know if we have election in Afghanistan, so they will lose. They will obviously lose. So this is the problem, that they're not letting us to, they don't let people to have election. And as once again, I will say that if we have election, so it's 100% sure that Taliban will not, that they will lose because they are a very small group.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So you are founder of the Farkunda Foundation, and still try to get some influence and still try to change things. How does your work look like?
So as you introduced me at the beginning too, so I was professor at Kabul Education University. So from the time that I had left Afghanistan till now, the only thing that I'm trying my best to do, however, I could not do the way that I wanted to do, is how could I educate the woman? How could I educate the girl in Afghanistan? Because as you know, that they're not completely banned from school, university, or anything else. So the only thing that I can do as a professor, so the only thing I could do, that I could at least offer them online classes. I could at least help them. So this is not only me that I'm helping them. So I have my different colleagues that they're all helping me through this steps that we are going through. So we have different classes. It's usually online classes. At the beginning, we have only like few students, few colleagues that they were just teaching them. But now, just I could say that after 2.5 years, we had several students, several colleagues that they are teaching them, and there are several girls and women that they are working with us. And the other point is that, as you know, that now in Afghanistan, that the only thing that women are not banned, they could at least go to some nursing classes as an assistant of doctor. So we just try hard to have some scholarship for them to go, at least they could study 1 or 2 years of being a nurse or being assistant doctor. So these are also the ways that we are trying for them. And the other point is we are trying hard to have scholarship for them. Like, as you know, that this is not easy, and this is so tough when you are not being in Afghanistan, you are so far away from Afghanistan, but you're trying for them. And the way that, as you know, that world don't have that, they don't put that much attention to Afghanistan. They don't put women and girls in priority. So, but again, we are trying for them, but again and again, we are trying for them. So these are all the work that we are doing. Of course, I would say once again that, of course, I could not teach several people because I'm the only one out there, or maybe several, of course, there are other people. But in my point of view, I think so that if, as an example, if I could at least have 2, 3, 5, 6, 700 students too, so this is also that this means something. That at least in this period of time, if I could help a few students, it is also like a big achievement for me. Of course, I would like to have more and more. But the situation being online, as you know, that there are different difficulties in Afghanistan to study online classes. But again, we are trying for the best.
And is it illegal to attend such an online class?
So as you know, that this is like hidden classes. We could not say that this is very obviously in public. So everybody is in their own houses. They are just hidely, they are having some classes. So the classes are different. Sometimes it is once a week. Some classes are once a week. Some classes are twice a week. And some classes are 3 times a week, but it is completely hidden. So as you know, so we have different problem in Afghanistan. We don't have only internet problem. We have electricity problem. We have computer problem. So the computer problem, internet problem, electricity problem. So when we just collect them also, it becomes too much. So just think that we, like, my organization is not only working on this one side of education. So meanwhile, for having classes, so I have to support them in online and for having their internet, for like their computer and other tools for their studying. So these are also the problem, but we are trying. And as again, I was said that these all things are completely hidden.
Yeah.
No anybody tell anybody else that I have classes such as online classes of English or mathematics or any other language. This is completely hidden.
So it's really against all odds that women and girls fight for the education, because otherwise they wouldn't have any chance. The fight against electricity, lack of electricity, equipment, and all in secrecy. That's of course quite pressing, I think. Yeah.
Of course, it is. Yeah, of course.
That brings me to the topic: how can we from Europe support initiatives like yours?
Thank you very much for mentioning very, very important and a very crucial point. So in a day, in a period of time that Afghanistan has really been forgotten, in a time that nobody is putting that much attention to Afghanistan, and a time that Afghanistan is really a forgotten land in the heart of Asia. So if there is any country, if they are putting their attention to Afghanistan, so this means very highly for us. So as you know, that European countries, European Parliament overall, it always have a very crucial role in this. So there are different ways, like they could help women in Afghanistan. The most important part and the most, I think so, this is like it is more like, how could I say, it will be more easier than the other ways. It will be offering scholarship. Offering scholarship, it's like if it's in higher education or if it is in school level. So every opportunity mean to us. The second thing is assisting humanitarian aid to Afghanistan. So how could you do this? Of course, by the help of organization, by the help of international organization, by the help of other local organization. The other point is we want European countries to make media awareness, like to keep public awareness more. However, European countries put the pressure more on the issue of Afghanistan when they prioritize women in Afghanistan in media. So of course, we will have attention of the world. This is also like one of the points that like European countries could help women in Afghanistan. And the very important point is that like they are not only helping in these cases, they are not only helping women and educational cases. So they could help them by economical way, like if you could make any kind of training, or if you could make any kind of trade or commercial other way. So this is also the other way. And the most important point is that if European countries help women in Afghanistan, so we could, like European countries could at least bring a little changes in refugee cases, in asylum cases, in asylum process. So these are all the points that if European countries help us, so of course, this is like the best point and the best steps that they could go towards women in Afghanistan.
Before I will get back to the asylum issue you just mentioned, the first two channels you just tackled, that how we could support and empower Afghan girls and women via offering scholarships and via humanitarian aid. I think that people in Europe often are concerned that their support really reaches those who need it most and doesn't go to other channels, to Taliban or somewhere else, but really to address those who are most in need. How is there a guarantee for that? Or what's the best way to really make sure that the right people are addressed by the right support?
Yeah, exactly. This is also the very important point. The first point is like if you're talking about the scholarship. So as you know that overall, if in my point of view, if I think so that we could make scholarship like for the women in Afghanistan, or for the girls in Afghanistan, or for the girls who haven't seen the doors of school from last 3 years. So like if any country could announce that I would offer 100 or 15 or 20 scholarship for medical students, like I will offer 20 or 50 or 100 scholarship for the students who could not go to schools after 10th grade, or I will offer scholarship for the students of journalism, for engineering, for the other student, and only for the girl. Of course, boy and girl, but the only gender that is more under pressure, it is women in Afghanistan. And the second point is humanitarian aid, that if European countries are helping Afghanistan, so is the help that they are, like if the assistance that they are assisting, the helping the women or the people in Afghanistan. So I would say that it directly and indirectly goes to the public, goes to the people in Afghanistan. But yeah, it is very important that which company are you supporting? Is it really goes to the people in Afghanistan, or it really goes to the pocket of Taliban? Yeah, exactly. This is very important. And first, like before helping them, like before assisting them, the important point is to understand and to know that who are you helping to.
So you mean that it's quite secure? One of the more secure channels would be to use international organizations like UN Women or like UNICEF, or what channels do you think are those who really can address the most marginalized women and girls best?
It is okay. I would like to say that maybe an international level, but I will never only I will not only say that only an international level. As you like if I'm talking only about my own organization, so this is not an international level. So this is a small organization, but we are completely working for Afghanistan. We're completely working in Afghanistan. So like mine organization, maybe there are several other organizations. They are small and they're local. They're working in Afghanistan. They're inside Afghanistan, but they're working in Afghanistan. So I think, of course, it is not that much easy, but the point is that you have to understand that and which organization and to whom does it go. Like whenever you are helping anybody, like whenever you're having any kind of humanitarian aid, so you have to understand and you have to have several ways to completely be sure.
Okay, so if anybody would like to support your organization and Google's Farkunda, they will find possibilities to support you.
For sure.
And now to get back to this question of asylum, which you mentioned, a couple of days ago, the European Court of Justice ruled that Afghan women should, in principle, enjoy humanitarian protection because they are systematically affected by gender-specific discrimination. Do you think that decision will help women to really find their way to secure countries, or what effect does it have? Well, how do you estimate this decision?
First, I will say hopefully, and I hope so for that. I always hope for that. You know, the point is that in a time, in a day that nobody is talking about Afghanistan. Nobody is at least talking about Afghanistan. Nobody have time for Afghanistan. If there is any country, they are raising the voice of Afghanistan. They are talking about Afghanistan. And if it is in European Parliament, so this really means to us. And it have a very high value for us. Like, as you say, as you see that from last 3 years, we are advocating for women's rights. We are fighting for women's rights. There are several other human rights and women's rights and children's rights. They are all raising their voices, but we don't see any kind of result for that. As we see that there is nobody. Of course, there are several here. They just hear our voices. They say, okay, and we know everything. But at the end of the day, nothing happened. No, any kind of change happened in Afghanistan. But so in this point of view, if European Parliament, they raise the voice of Afghanistan and they mention this point of Afghanistan, so it is very valuable for me. And it is, I will say that this is a good step. I will say that this is a positive step. And I hope so for the for the further other good steps too. But in my point of view, overall, it's a good step. And I'm hoping for the other steps too.
What I take with me from this conversation is that it's really totally important not to forget about Afghanistan, and also to give the impression or really prove that we do not forget, but really keep Afghanistan in our political activities very high on the agenda and really address it wherever it is possible, and really hold accountable our governments and all those who are working in diplomacy, really do be in touch to make pressure that there are changes that are for the better for the people, for the women and girls especially. So I thank you very much for this loud wake-up call, and I'm sure we will continue to work for Afghan girls and women also in near future. Nargis, thank you very much for
Thank you very
joining
much.
this
Thank
episode
you.
of Vienna Calling.
Thank you very much once again. And at the end, I will once again say that don't forget Afghanistan. And the day that nobody is mentioning Afghanistan, please don't forget Afghanistan. Don't forget the girls in Afghanistan. Don't forget the women in Afghanistan. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
Vienna Calling, der Videopodcast von und mit Petra Bayer. Aktuelle Fragen der Zeit kurz und prägnant beantwortet.